Next is David Clarke. Somebody round him up for me. There he is. David, why don't you take us a minute and tell us why you'd like to be an SCC judge?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, David Clarke. Interested in this position for a number of reasons. I'll give you a little background on myself, if I might. I am a proud native Virginian, product of great public schools in Chesterfield County and of the University of Virginia and of the law school at the University of Richmond. My interest in the position of Commissioner of the SCC is long-standing. In fact, my parents were introduced to one another by now retired Judge Preston Shannon and his wife Ann. So I guess you could say that my interest comes, in a sense, naturally. Prior to law school, I worked for 3 years in banking for a state-chartered savings and loan, and for the past almost 35 years, I've worked with 3 outstanding law firms where I've previously served as managing partner and currently serve as member in charge of the Richmond office of Eckert Siemens, Charon, and Malott. I've been fortunate to have many wonderful personal and professional mentors and role models, and to them I owe a great debt of gratitude. Many of those role models, including a number in this body, have provided an inspiring example of public service. I see the position of Commissioner of the SEC as not only an honor, but an opportunity to give back, to serve. I believe most of you are somewhat familiar with the advocacy work I do on behalf of clients as a lobbyist, and you may know that in addition to my work here at the General Assembly, I've worked for many of those same clients before the state agencies and bodies which regulate those interests, including the State Corporation Commission. My legal work also includes a significant corporate and transactional practice representing a wide range of businesses and individual clients. My work in matters regulated by the SEC have also covered a wide range of subjects. I've assisted insurance agents, agencies, and underwriters on a variety of regulatory and licensure issues. I've represented a coalition of businesses and individuals before the Commission in the development and enforcement of regulations regarding portions of the lending industry. In the area of telecommunications, I've represented both incumbent and competitive providers of both landline and wireless service. And in the area of energy, I've worked for both incumbent natural gas utilities and competitive suppliers of energy, including marketers of green energy. Outside of my professional life, I have been blessed with a loving family, including a wife of 30 years and our 2 adult children. I've been privileged to serve my community on the boards of a civic association, an independent school, a leadership training program, and in the leadership of our church. In the area of personal interest and advocacy, I helped start and lead an organization for the purpose of preserving as public open space a small but important tract of land in Richmond's West End. I believe we were the first to establish that a locality in Virginia can place a conservation easement on its own property to ensure its conservation for generations ahead. We weren't the first in Virginia to obtain a conservation easement, but we were ultimately successful, and we established the precedent for the city of Richmond that led to the placement of a conservation easement on other important public space in the city, including portions of the James River Park system. So you might ask, why me and why now? I would bring to this position an appropriate demeanor and a respect for the role of the Commission as the agency that implements legislative policy, and a recognition of the need to listen to all voices. Moreover, I would bring to this work an intellectual curiosity and a breadth of experience and expertise that are well suited for the extensive regulatory reach of the Commission. I cannot imagine a more interesting and challenging time to serve as Commissioner. So much is changing and so rapidly. I fully understand the charge to the judges of the Commission is to apply the provisions of the Constitutions of Virginia and of the United States and the laws enacted by the General Assembly to the facts presented in each case. I also appreciate that it is important that we have commissioners who recognize the nuances of the modern regulatory arena that are articulated in the legislation enacted by this body. I'm humbled by the prospect of serving alongside our current commissioners and following in the footsteps of the women and men of highest integrity who have served previously in this role. I respectfully request that you certify me as qualified to so serve.
Okay.
Thank you.
Are there questions for Mr. Clarke? David, I have one if I could, and I'll try to better articulate. It's the same question I asked the previous interview. I'm familiar. Let me give you something I'm very familiar with. There's the previous owner of a shipyard that I own. He took a leap of faith. He had a marine railway, and he pulled boats up there and repair the boats and put them back in the water. And he went ahead and signed a lease with the city of Newport News so they could put a big travel lift basin in. He went out and borrowed $2 million to buy a new travel lift on a company that perhaps didn't do $2 million with the revenue in a year. He went out on a limb and made that investment. And the returns on that investment, I was able to, when I purchased the company from him, take advantage of him because he had the foresight and the look-see to be able to go in and say, I got to prepare for the future. I need to make these changes if I'm going to be competitive and keep my business open. I suspect if he hadn't have done that, his business would be out of business, and I would have never had the opportunity to buy it and take it to the next level. It's been an issue with me and the State Corporation Commission that they have been reluctant to make those type of investments that I think will propel Virginia into the future. And it becomes an increasing level of concern that the commissioners come up here, and particularly Senator Sasslaw has been on them, as well as Senator Norman has been my witness over the years, saying, will you follow what the General Assembly says? And then we come back a couple of years later and have the same issues and the same series of questions over and over again. This year, you're getting pretty clear instructions that are going to be sent to you, because we're very concerned here that the State Corporation Commission has become very myopic on let's deliver the lowest possible rates we possibly can for a consumer and fail to make the necessary investments to do that. And we're talking pennies on an electric bill, but we're talking about a future generation that I'm very excited about with the investments made in that. Talk to me about what your feelings are on those particular issues.
Mr. Chairman, I understand the issues that you're raising. Certainly, I think the Commission has had as its charge the protection of ratepayers, appropriately so. I do think that as I listened to the debate this year and in recent years in this body, it's clear to me that the sense of the General Assembly is that we need to have more investment. We need to look at renewables. We need to look at energy efficiency programs. And those things don't come without a price tag on them, no question. So what my sense is that the nuances that I hear from this body are that we need to have a fresh perspective. We need to look at the operations of our utilities as the businesses that they are, recognize that they need to make tough decisions each day on where they're going to invest their capital. So I fully support the interest in investing for the longer term and not just for the short term, what is necessarily the lowest rate on any given day.
Okay. Are there any other questions? Senator Stewart.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. David, I'm not as familiar with the SCC as perhaps I should be because I just practice in regular old courts. But I know that you have a substantial practice of representing folks that are regulated by the SCC. You've done work before them, work here on behalf of all those clients. How does that affect you if you were to sit on the SCC in terms of now dealing with issues of those same clients? Does that present a conflict of interest that you have to recuse yourself on and we have to find a replacement? Just walk me through how that would work, please.
Mr. Chairman, Senator Stewart, I certainly wouldn't be the first person to go on the commission who has been in a private practice I believe that in dealing with conflicts of interest, they would be handled with consulting the commission staff. And I'm sure that for a period of time, I would have to not participate in cases involving clients that I have represented. As far as my personal interest in clients, I think we all who are lawyers know that we're charged with zealously representing our clients' best interests. And they sometimes are in line with our own personal interests, but not always are they in line with our personal interests.
Okay. Are there any other questions? The chair will entertain a motion.
Maybe be found qualified.
Been moved and seconded that Mr. Clarke be found qualified. Clerk, open the rolls. Okay, thank you,
very
David. I
much.
appreciate it.
14 ayes, 0 nays.
Thank you.